Howdy, welcome to Vets Chatting with Granny Lisa. I'm your co-host, Peggy the Enforcer, and tonight we're interviewing Vinny Stefanelli with Music for Veterans. Let's get our host on. Granny Lisa, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing fabulous. I am so
Wonderful.
excited because I am so grateful to you, girl, because
Well,
I have been having a hard time trying to get musicians live playing. I know there's a lot of them out there, but I just haven't been able to connect with them. And so I just needed to find out how to go about it. And I was really thinking, I don't have a show. I really don't have a show. And then you sent me this wonderful email. And I thought, oh, this is exciting. And I remember a while back you were telling me about this program. So with Vinny, I sent him an email. Well, I thought I did, but you resent it because I sent it to you. But he answered and said yes.
yes,
I am
ma'am.
so excited because, okay, I should stop because we need to get him on and get him to tell us about himself. Hey, Vinny, welcome to the show.
Hello,
How
thank you
you
for
And
doing?
inviting me.
I am so happy that you agreed on such short notice to be here because I was not sure what to do. And when Peggy sent me the information, I was like, oh, this is so awesome. Yay. And so, can you please, because I'm looking at a little bit of your bio, and you are actually a musician and producer at Harmony Lane Pictures,
Yes,
which creates animated children's music.
yes, yes.
That is so adorable because I believe children need to learn music.
Oh, children need to be saturated with music. They need to be having music around them all the time.
Do you think it's like, remember the old saying, music's tames the savage beast?
Yes, yes.
Does that work with the children too?
Well, children can be savage beasts sometimes.
Uh-huh. Well, that's why I was asking because, sometimes they can get really rambunctious,
Yes,
but aren't they like this? See, I think children are the closest of being open to all kinds of experiences when they're small. Then they learn how to close off
yes,
a lot of
yes,
things or listen to, well, you're not good at this, so you need to stop doing that.
yes.
But most parents, I think, like to encourage their children into music. So what exactly do you do with that?
Well, let me address some of the things that you said first. Um,
Okay.
uh, Music for children is a wonderful thing because some teachers at elementary schools use music for teaching children, for bringing them through the day. So a lot of teachers will put music on when they transition from one subject to another, and it's a really sort of it's like refreshing. It's like grabbing a beverage to sort of quench the thirst and move them into another type of room, or move them into just another talk about class, about different thing, history, whatever the case may be. So a child is absorbing all the time. What a great time to teach them music, and not really teach them. What I like is I like to try to have a student learn without trying to sit there and telling them what to do. Hand them an instrument and see what happens. Put them in front of a piano. They'll start hitting all kinds of keys, and then eventually they'll start looking for little melodies, and they're sort of absorbing and teaching themselves through experience, through experimenting. So it's a great thing. And so what we do is we have an animated program that we have instruments that actually, well, see if I can pull this off the wall here. Here's one of the instruments, and looks like he's a live character. and
Yeah.
and he can talk and he can play, and he talks to the children and says, "Hey, how do you like this melody?" And he'll play a melody, and he'll say, "Here, jump up and down during this melody," or "Let's clap our hands." And so we have 5 different instruments: drums, piano, guitar, sax, and trumpet. And so it's a great way of teaching kids. You know, my daughters now are 23 and 33 years old, but when they were younger, we would sit in front of a Disney movie, or we'd sit in front of a Pooh Bear TV
Mhm.
show, and they always have music and some type of a theme. And most of the time, it's a good theme. You know, Pooh Bear
Mhm.
is always talking about, you do the best you can, and then you experience and enjoy life. So it's a good way of capturing a child's attention and then feeding some music at the same time.
Oh,
Uh,
I love Disney. Go
yes.
ahead.
I
Well,
was it's amazing. Is it animated in 2D or 3D, or how are the
3D.
animations done?
3D.
Oh,
Yes. Yes.
wow.
And so we're just getting it off the ground. We've been working on it for years, and it's just coming together now. So it's a wonderful time. It's a lot. I'm a lot later in my life than I thought I was going to be doing this, but you just sort of go with the process. And
Right,
if things slow you down in the world, well, you deal with it. Um,
right.
so I do that at the same time as I direct the Music for Veterans program. Uh,
Now, that I saw that and I was like, wow, what an awesome thing, because I don't know if you know this, but veterans love music. Okay, some of them are like the headbangers, some of them are classic, and I mean, they have a wide variety. It just depends on, I think, where they grew up and, like the South or the West and everything. So when they come back from war and they're experiencing PTSD and other just even disabilities, I know a lot of them will still try to connect with music. So, how does your program, and did you start this? Was it your idea? Go ahead,
well,
fill me in.
okay, so I wish it was my idea, but I went to uh, a bunch of changes in my life. I moved back from San Francisco Bay Area to northwestern Pennsylvania. The industry that I was working in wasn't really happening here, so I was looking to do something. I had time while I was looking for work and such, and so a friend of mine said, "You should go talk to the people at the vet center and see maybe they'd like to have someone come in and teach music to the veterans." So I went, "That sounds like a good idea." So so I go over to the vet center, not the VA, but the vet center, and I talk with the manager there, nice guy, and I told him that I was interested in helping veterans learn music. And what I was thinking of is, at the time I was reading the paper and they were talking about the number of suicides and the
Mhm.
difficulties that veterans were having integrating back into civilian life. Now, before I go any further, I have to apologize to Peggy. I'm a non-veteran, so all the things that I'm talking about come from things that I've learned.
You know what? We don't hold that against you.
Nope.
Okay, good, good. So, so, what music did for me is my parents went through a crazy divorce. Uh, it was just volatile, violent. And so I used to pick up my guitar at a very young age. And when things got crazy, I'd go into my room and the world would go away. So I
Mhm.
thought, if music was able to do that for me, perhaps it would be able to help veterans coming back from the military. And what I learned was amazing. The first time I walked into the room, into the vet center, because the manager called me up a week later and said, "Come on in and show us what you're going to do." So I walk into a room filled with, oh, there must have been 8 or 10 veterans in there, from older age. The youngest one was probably in their 50s, and the oldest 2 were in their early 90s. One
Oh,
of them
wow.
one of them was a woman photographer who was in the army, and after the Second World War, she followed a general through Europe, documenting the destruction of Europe.
It was
And
a female?
yes, yes, she was.
You are
She
lucky.
was spunky as can be, and she had a box full of photographs that she had taken
Oh,
during her time there. And then the other one was an Air Force guy from the Air Force, 92 years old, and
wow.
he was actually in Southeast Asia before the United States entered the Second World War. He was in Southeast Asia, and his job was to monitor the movement of the Japanese up and down the coast. Well,
Mm-mm.
he eventually got captured and spent 35 months in a prisoner of war camp in Japan. Um,
POW on top of it.
so these people were history. I
Yes.
mean, I walked into a room full of history, and the young people had, I believe, they were in the Gulf War, and
Yes.
then there was Vietnam veterans. So again, I'm walking into this room full of people, and I thought, I was expecting the young people. I was expecting the 30-year-olds, the 40-year-olds who recently came back. And
Mm-hmm.
so after a few months of doing it, I went there every week, and I taught them how to play guitar. I taught them songs, everything. A few of them knew how to play pretty well, actually. I got to be very close friends with a few of the Vietnam veterans who are closer to my age. They're more of my brother's age. But I was asking one of the guys, I said, John, Vietnam's decades ago. At the time, it was about 40 years ago. I said, 40 years ago. I said, has time not healed the wounds? He goes, it's worse now. The kids are gone. I'm retired. I've got nothing to do but think. And I went, okay. So apparently this transition from the military to civilian life is not a 2-day, 20-day, it's a
Mm-hmm.
20-year. It can be a
A
lifetime.
lifetime.
And
Yes.
so I started catching on. And
Thank you.
it's
Not
been
too many people do,
true.
unfortunately.
Now, see, I come from a family of veterans, but I was never a veteran in the military myself. My grandfather came from the old country, and like 5 years later, he was in the army fighting in Europe in the First World War. My dad was upset because he never got a chance to enter the Navy during the Second World War because his vision was so bad. So he joined the Merchant Marines, and he went back and forth across the Atlantic bringing supplies in a Merchant Marine ship which had like one gun, and that was it.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
So
Dedication.
he didn't realize what a hero he was.
Thank you, Eric and Craig, for commenting. Eric said, thank you, Vinny, for what you do, and that joining can be a lifetime. And Eric said, this is awesome, Vinny. I know music has really helped me out of some tough spots. U.S. combat veteran here. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys, for commenting. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So you walked into this room, and they're telling you it can be a lifetime. So what do you decide to do?
Well, here's the thing. I should have known this, but I didn't think about the camaraderie that happens between veterans. I know camaraderie between musicians. If I meet a total stranger and he or she says that they play guitar, I'll go, I play guitar. And all of a sudden we're friends, right?
Yeah.
So I realized that retrospect, I started seeing how these veterans were communicating. I saw how they look like they've known each other all their lives, how they heard somebody else's story and nodded their head.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't mind a quick story.
No.
So we're sitting in a room, and we did have a young guy come in, and he's probably 40s, early 40s, and was in the service long enough, a good time. And he was complaining because the military never really planned or helped him plan that transition. They didn't help them in the transition like he thought. He says, we had a couple of weeks of this or that. And the Vietnam veteran sitting next to him said, I know exactly what you're talking about. He said, I was in Vietnam. I was a gunner in a helicopter. I was gunning people down. And he said, 3 days later, they send me home. I'm sitting on my mom's couch, still wanting to shoot people. And so, again, not a veteran. So I was sort of like taken back, but I keep quiet. I don't say anything because I don't know what their experiences are, but they share their experiences when they're with somebody. They might not be able to share that experience with a friend or with a spouse, but with another veteran, they know that they can understand each other. I didn't know that would happen, by the way, until I started the program. I was going to teach them music. And now, so I realize now there's two things in the program. There's music, which is the personal relationship that they have with the instrument, and all the benefits they talk about, all the benefits they've done studies for ages about what music does, as you had said. It just brings people together. It helps them individually. And then they get together with these other veterans and they're able to talk. They've got this support system. I never planned it that way, but hey, what the heck? It worked out.
You were supposed to be where you were supposed to be at the right time.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, obviously, because there's a saying, nobody understands a vet like a vet. And I could be in the airport. I see another in either uniform or an old vet wearing his Vietnam vest or hat. I immediately go up to him and start talking and then we're watching out for each other.
Oh, gotcha.
You know, I'm making sure that he's getting on the plane. I see that he's watching to make sure I get on the plane. You know, if I'm on the plane first, he walks by, you doing okay? You know, it's like you have that instant connection.
Yes.
So you're seeing this happening. And I can tell that it's very touching towards you. Just by your face expressions and the way that you're talking, that it's touching you.
Yes.
And so what do you do next to bring this camaraderie and healing of music to bring them up and out of the either despair or whatever kind of conversations that they may be having? Hey, Craig, it's so good to see you tonight, honey. He says, I get vets together fishing, and it's an amazing...
Conversations we have had, similar situations and experiences bring us together. I totally agree with you, Craig. Couldn't agree with you more.
Yep,
looks like Granny froze up, so I'll give you the opportunity to answer her question now.
You know, I've seen a lot of organizations since I started this program back in 2011. I've seen a lot of organizations sprout up, and there's people, guys and gals that get together and go fishing. There's people, welcome back. There's people who golf together. You know, there's people who run together, veterans who run together, and whatever those common interests are, they find each other. Hopefully they find each other. And when they do, they've got that support system, you know, and I've seen these guys and gals get together. Some of them don't talk at all, but they feel comfortable with somebody who's like them. And I should clarify a number of other things. Thank you for the combat veterans, because who knows what the stuff that they've gone through. But I've met so many other veterans who have this, they didn't have the chance to use the tools and the techniques and the experience that they had put together. But they fit perfectly in the puzzle. So one of the guys was saying, yeah, I never got a chance to go in combat. I said, well, what did you do? He goes, well, I was at one of the bases that I taught hand-to-hand combat. I said, how many people have you saved? Another guy said that he never left, but every time he smells diesel, he said he gets triggered. And I thought, well, what is that? And he said, I worked in mortuary duty. And I went, So here's the best story about this. Well, the best one I know. I'm sure there's hundreds more. One of the guys who was part of the group, who's in day one, he was there. Well, his name was Mac. And Mac said he went into I believe he went into the Navy, and he was doing all the stuff that they have to do. And somebody walked up to him and they said, are you Mac? He goes, yes. He goes, come with me. And all of a sudden he was a corpsman. Now, I didn't know what a corpsman was. I didn't know what a corpsman did. I learned afterwards. And the guys were talking to him, and they said, I walked into the room to do a session, and they said, you should go, Mac. You should go. And he went, I don't know. He was talking about going to his reunion. And he had missed 20 or 30 of them. He just would not go. And his wife insisted. She said, look, you're 70 years old now. I want you to go to one of those reunions. And so he goes to the reunion. He walks in. He's there for just a matter of minutes. And somebody walks up to her directly and says, are you Mac? Because, yeah. He goes, you saved my life. And he said, another 20 minutes, somebody else came up to him and said, are you Mac? You saved my life. And he realized he didn't want to go there because all the guys that he lost, he never thought about the guys that he saved in Vietnam. So that story to me just, it's heartbreaking and heartwarming at the same time.
Yeah, I can see where he's coming from, though. I really can. You're right, Craig. He definitely is a veteran. I don't care if he was a cook or not. Anybody that served is a veteran,
That's
and
right.
they had a role to play.
That's right.
He does 2 programs. Craig is a close friend of mine and Peggy's. He does 2 programs with the VA. He's a veteran. He is Coast Guard.
Oh, very nice.
Yes.
Very nice.
But he does Hometown Hero outdoors, which they take him out fishing and everything. Yep. And then he also does, which I try not to cry each time I think about it, No Veteran Dies Alone. He volunteers to go and sit with a veteran in hospice at the VA, and he stays with that veteran until they pass.
God bless.
And I know it's got, he and, what's her name? Oh man, I can't think of her name, but his boss, she's over the whole thing. Anyway, those 2 are amazing on how they do that. And the hospital there in Washington State, that VA is really awesome. Nice. So anyway, I'll have to have Craig back on. He does like you.
We occasionally get a chance to go to the VA, and we visit the hospice. And it's interesting because the last time I went there, which was about last year, I met 2 guys who were friends with my dad. And it's sort of nice. It was nice to go and watch them play. And they rolled in 2 guys in wheelchairs, and they looked to me like they were just unconscious. And we started playing, and I saw their foot tap. I saw the one guy's foot tap, and I saw the other guy's finger tap, and I thought, we reached them. Great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Doesn't that make a difference if you just reach one person? Yes. That's all it takes.
Well, it's nice to reach then 2 and 3 and 4 and 5.
Oh, absolutely. That's right. Be close. She's the director over the VA program there with No Veteran Dies Alone. Well, I think she does volunteer services, the whole deck. But anyway, yeah.
That's a great program.
It is. And not all the VAs have them.
No.
Unfortunately.
I never heard of it.
See, you need to whisper it to somebody there and say, hey, how come we don't have No Veteran Dies Alone? Because it is an important thing, just as important as yours. So with the music, you do they have to come in with their own instruments, or does the VA provide them? How does that all come together?
Well, what state are you in now?
I am in Texas.
Texas. Okay. So Pennsylvania, I'm going around the back door to answer your question.
Okay, that's fine. I love the back door.
Okay. So the VA and the vet center, and the vet centers started, I believe, around Vietnam, after Vietnam, and it's counseling. And the VA they do counseling, but they do more medical stuff here. Neither of them we're not affiliated with them at all. We're an independent 501c3 nonprofit organization. So we get our funding from vet organizations. So American Legions, VFWs,
Oh.
Navies, and such, and private clubs. Because in Pennsylvania, if you have any type of gambling like bingo
Hmm.
or whatever the case may be, if you're a private club and you serve liquor, you have to give a certain percentage of that to a nonprofit, give it away,
Oh.
which is a great plan because there's so many nonprofits around that are trying to support causes like ours and others, homeless and everything else. So we go out to those places in thanks for their contribution, and we'll play at their organization. And so that's actually like the third part of the program. The first part of the program is teaching a veteran music. If they don't know how to play guitar, we teach them how to play guitar. We can't provide people outside of our area guitar, but locally, if you don't have a guitar, if you can't afford one, we have one for you. And so the second thing is we get together every week and we sort of just hang out. We're there for about an hour and a half. We probably do about an hour of playing and an hour of just talking, just what's happening with you, the kids, whatever else, good, healthy stuff, just hanging out. And then we play out. And so the veterans are comfortable with each other, right? And I thought it'd be nice to sort of stretch that and go out and do performances. And so that was a tough one. I had one of the Vietnam veterans come up to me before our first gig. This was back in 2011. And he said, "I'm really nervous about this." And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I'm really nervous about getting up on that stage and playing." I said, "I understand." I said, "But you are in Vietnam. If you can do that, you can handle this." So at any rate, he gets up, and then afterwards, my heart just about exploded because he came up after me and he says, "Thank you very much." I said, "What, for torturing and putting up on stage?" He goes, "No, for filling one of my bucket lists. I've always wanted to play in a band." And so that's one thing. The other thing is they gain that confidence of being in a social environment.
Yeah.
Because they've got their buddies next to them.
Right next to them, yeah.
Who's watching their six, right? So it's just a nice balance of getting together, learning individually, getting together, and then going out and showing your stuff. Hey, look what we can do now. And when we go out, we do a military medley. So we'll go through and do every military. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might. In the army goes wrong. And people, veterans, love that.
Oh, yeah.
You hear yelling and screaming, and we'll yell out Marines. Then we'll do the Marines medley. It's a lot of fun. And they like it. And here's the other thing. I don't know if I'd ever meet any of the people who I've met through the program. I don't know if I'd ever meet them. Mm-hmm. And if I met them, I don't know if I'd ever be a friend. But I got a chance to see these guys, talk with them. I'm not only amazed at the service that they provide, because some of them were in the service for 3 years. Some of them were in the service for 30 years. And the only thing I've done for 30 years straight is play music, but it's funny. Let's talk one more thing. I'm sorry. I'm talking.
I love this. You don't have to apologize at all. You're my guest. I want to hear what you have to say. One
of the guys who became a really close friend of mine, it's actually him. He was in the Navy, and his brother was in the Army. His brother served in the 80s and served in Germany and stared at the other side of the wall. But the other one is he was in the Navy for, I believe, 25 years. More than 20 years, for sure. And he said that he was never in combat. He was stationed in Japan for a long time. He was out on the seas for a long time in between things. He was on the medical side of things, which is tough. But he says one of the toughest things for him was the first day of being a civilian. He said he was getting ready for his job, and he said he stood in front of his closet for about 10 or 15 minutes, and his wife said, "Just wear this." He was so used to wearing a uniform for 20 something.
Yeah. It's like, what do you wear? I mean, even in the short period of time I was in, I had the same experience. It's like, okay, how do I dress now?
Yes, yes.
Because you're so used. I mean, I had no problem throwing or putting away that iron and ironing board. I tell you what, that I didn't miss. But
I was going to wear it myself.
there was a comment earlier and I missed it. Oh, there we go. Eric, he says, I have a nonprofit in North Central PA called Heroes and Horses.
I've heard of them.
Yep, we do therapy with horses for veterans with PTSD and TBI. Horses are so therapeutic. I agree, because aren't they very, just like music, they're very
Serene.
in tune and
Yes.
serene. And I mean, you only need to like just make even your body think of something and it reacts just a slight bit,
Yeah.
and the horse knows.
Yes.
It's like it connects right with you.
Yes.
I think that's awesome.
I'm not a rider, but the first time I ever saw a horse, I got in front of it and got lost in its eyes.
Yeah, I mean, they're a superior animal. I believe it.
The horse program is a great program. We have one, an equine program that, here, and we get together with them once a year and do a sort of a partnership thing. They get a bunch of people together for a big event, and we perform at that. So, yes,
Wow.
very nice.
That is so awesome. That's great. Well, you know what? You got to pencil us in on your guys coming and performing on the show, because
Absolutely.
I think it would be awesome for the viewers, and especially let them know that it's a veteran podcast.
There you go.
There we go. And that they would be actually showing that no matter what you've been through, if they want to share a couple of stories, we could do that too.
Yes.
But yeah,
That would be fantastic.
this is so exciting. Peggy, I've been asking all the questions. I've been taking over. Hun, you ask some questions.
Well, we got a comment from our viewers. Eric said he always tells my veterans that a horse will look through your eyes and into your soul.
Absolutely.
And Greg, he agrees that would be a great thing to do, to have everybody together. Now, I met you a while back, Vinny, and you guys were so gracious, and I loved listening to you guys play and everything. I've been busy since I left you guys because I found a group local that does the same thing under a different name. Yep. I wasn't aware that there were groups all over the nation doing this and teaching veterans. And so on your Zooms, do you still invite other veterans from different parts? So if there's a veteran that just loves music so much, they want to get into as many veteran music programs as possible to play with as many people?
Yes, absolutely. Well, let me back up a couple of years here. In 2020, COVID hit, and we were getting together. We don't have an office, we don't have a space, but we've got a good relationship with the local Salvation Army, and they allow us into their place every Tuesday, where we go in and we practice like a band. But what happened was around 2020, when COVID hit, I told everyone, I said, we're not getting together anymore. And they says, oh, come on, let's just get, I said, no, some of you guys have been through war and survived. I'm not going to have anything happen to you on my watch. So they said, what are we going to do? And I thought, everyone else is going on Zoom. Let's go on Zoom. So we were all around town here. We're all 20 miles away from each other, but we're still on Zoom. And throughout the years, I get phone calls and texts and emails of people who say, hey, I saw your program online. Do you have anything in our area? And back then, I couldn't tell them that they can join us because they're in Oklahoma or California. But after Zoom started, I thought, let's do a weekly Zoom call. And so we started that. And now we have people from California, Washington State, Oregon. We have somebody from Michigan, Florida, Georgia, all across the country. We have people, and we just keep growing. And we get on Zoom and we talk. Well, Peggy, we talk, and then someone plays guitar, and if no one volunteers to play guitar, I volunteer them. Some of them only come in and play just a couple chords, and I figured, hey, fantastic. We've got a rule: no talking religion, no talking politics, and the other rule we have is no judgment. Don't
right.
judge anybody else, and especially don't judge yourself. And I start people off with the easiest stuff. So, and I'm told a lot, don't play this song anymore. I went, why? And they said, well, I don't know. It's sort of, it's old or whatever. But every time we play this song, I look out in the audience and there's all kinds of people playing. So this is the first song I teach everyone. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. Please don't take my sunshine away. And I look throughout, thank you very much. And I look out and everyone was singing with us. So that's what I always do. It brings people in. That's the first thing you want to do. And then they look at the band and they know we're not a rock band, although we play some rock some, but we're not a rock band, and we're more of a theme band. So we do songs like as I went walking that river of highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me that golden valley. This land was made for you and me. Oh, this land was made for you and me. This land was made for you and me. Oh. So we play songs like that. And, those are songs that remind people of, way back when. And they're patriotic. So we do that type of stuff. And we also do, we do some Dylan songs. We do some Willie Nelson songs, because the guys and gals who play like those type of things. We have one of our people, she loves old tunes. So I won't mention any names, but one of the women who's with us was in the Navy, and she was in the Navy. She went in 1958.
Oh, wow.
So you can imagine, spunky as can be, probably, well, I'm not going to talk about ages, but spunky as can be. She loves getting together with the guys and gals and playing music. And she likes to do the old song. So, Moon River,
Oh, yeah.
wider than a mile, I'm crossing you in style. Someday you dream maker, you heartbreaker. Wherever you're going, I'm going your way. So we do the old songs, and she loves to do summertime, and the living is easy. Ooh, fish are jumping, and the cotton is high. Your daddy's rich, and your mama's good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you cry. Don't you cry. Summertime. She loves singing that song, so we do that.
I love that song too.
Yeah,
I
those are my
do.
favorites. Um,
I have to say though, when you played "You Are My Sunshine," my husband was a veteran, and he would always sing that song to me every night
uh,
before sleep. And he was one of the 22 that killed himself. Or what was it? How we're supposed to say that, Peggy? Um,
Um, I don't remember.
died of self-infliction? No,
Yeah,
mm,
something like that. Instead of saying he committed
we'll have to
suicide.
ask Becky, our co-host on Leftovers. She went
Yeah,
to a class. They're changing the terminology because it's not. It is self-induced, but it's not always,
yeah.
because medication can cause it and other things can cause it.
yeah.
Oh, there was a young guy who was part of the program. He eventually moved out to Texas, and I went over to his place once, and on the table he had like 10, 12 prescriptions. And I'm thinking to myself, he's in his early 30s or mid 30s, and there's so much. Um, but it's the care that we have to give to them. Uh,
Exactly.
so here's what I saw. Here's what I've seen. The VA they do pretty good. They've got a lot to do. I don't know what their expenditures are, but they have to deal with the government and everything else. They are part of the government. But around here, and more I look around the country, there are so many organizations that are there to support veterans, nonprofit organizations. My cousin has an organization for veterans called Embracing Our Veterans. And I don't know how she does it, but she'll get a phone call from a veteran. I need to find a job. I need to find an apartment. I got an apartment. I don't have anything in it. So she'll find furniture for them. All the things that you need when you move someplace, especially from the military. What do you have? You can pretty much walk out with no furniture. I can't imagine you have that much furniture or that type of stuff. And a lot of these people are on the street, and just because. Um,
Hmm.
so it's really nice to see all these organizations supporting veterans.
Oh,
Um,
there's so many, and yet it's so hard to find a connection. And I know that there are a few organizations that are trying to make a kind of like a directory for all of us to, because I keep notes, Peggy keeps notes, and we can go, oh, I know this person here. He may know somebody over where you're at
yes,
that may be able to help you, and
yes,
if we had like and we're all from the service, we should be able to create something so simple because we could do it in the services. I can look up and say, oh, here's in such and such in Washington, there's this and this from the military. But so
yes.
far we haven't gotten
No,
that far yet.
and Lisa, I have to apologize because I just found out. I didn't know that you were a veteran as well. So thank you for your service.
Oh, you're welcome, and no
You as
problem.
well, yes.
No,
Um,
it's good.
and when were you in the service?
I was in during 1980 to 84.
And what branch?
Army.
Army. Well, then I did
Hmm. And
the
then
answer
Peggy,
for you.
you were in during what time?
2003 to 2009 active, and then until 2011 inactive. I was the Air Force Air National Guard.
Oh.
Yeah.
Craig says there's a lot of vet groups, yet he's seen vets travel 8 hours just to fish. We need more groups, and I'm in agreement, Craig. We really
You
do.
gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. Yeah. He's in Washington, but he also does a lot with Oregon.
Hmm,
And so, he's on the coast. I am like so
yeah.
jealous. He's on
He
that
was
Oregon
Coast Guard
coast I miss.
79 to 88.
Yep. Yep.
Nice. Um,
So,
my daughter is in Tacoma. It's a beautiful area up there.
oh
Beautiful.
yeah. Yes, it is. It is.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, they say, oh, it's got a lot of rain and gray skies. But if you're that kind of a person, it's heaven because
Yeah,
it's so lush. The
yeah,
forests are like fairy tales. Oh, I
yeah.
loved going hiking in the forests there.
And we went to visit her last year, I think it was spring, and we went to an island. We saw whales swimming by.
Oh, yeah. How did you like that?
Oh, I loved it. I love it. It's really beautiful up there. Now, I'm in northwestern Pennsylvania, and we are on Lake Erie. And so we have a really nice area here. Lake Erie is really a large piece of water, and it's beautiful. And we're like a 10-minute walk to the lake. So
Mhm.
before we came back, which is our hometown, we were in Walnut Creek, was just east of San Francisco, and I loved it there too. It's beautiful, beautiful place.
Mm.
Before that, my wife and I lived in New York City. We lived in Manhattan, which is a
Oh,
really
wow.
beautiful place. Um,
I've always wanted to go there, to
oh,
New York, yeah.
oh man, it's everything and everybody, and the best foods that you ever tasted.
Oh, I bet the Italian food, oh my gosh. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, now I got a strange question.
Uh-oh.
I know. What would you recommend if a person came in, just got back out of the military, he's done his 4 years, he was overseas, just a youngin', never really, he graduated high school, went into the military, comes out, he's messed up.
Mm.
A lot of anger issues, and he gets a job, but it's just life has no purpose.
Mm. Mission.
Mm-hmm.
No mission.
No mission.
Yeah.
Do you think that a music program would be helpful for him? I mean, he loves music.
Yep.
He listens to the radio.
Yep.
He always connects to music with his own life and
Yep.
life experiences.
Yeah.
How would he apply that to helping himself heal?
Yeah. Well, if he was a musician before he went in, easy transition to our program. I would say that one of the things I do when a young person comes in is I try to find out as much information about how long they were in the service. We know that this young man came out of high schools directly into the service, so he doesn't have much, not much social background. So most of his social background is from the military and such. I would suggest a few things. We have a really good relationship with the Erie County Veterans Administration Office, and that person who runs that office, their job is to bring them in, sign them back up into so they can get their voting. And then the other thing that they do is they make sure that if they need to go to the VA for any type of treatment, they go there. They have all that information. They give them all the information that they need. What they don't do, I don't think, is to connect them socially. So what I usually do is I usually ask them what their interest. If their interest is music, come on in. If their interest happens to be fishing, playing golf, horse riding, running, whatever the case may be, there's a club for each one of those things. There is, and we're not in a big. We're in a city that's probably, I don't know, this is probably in the 50-mile radius, maybe 500,000 people, probably 300,000 people. So we're not real large, but there are organizations, there's veterans groups everywhere. And that's one of the things I would do is find out what their interest is. And even if they just came into Music for Veterans program, we have activities that we do. So sometime soon we are invited to go to an event that's out in the next town over. They're a veterans organization that's opening up their organization, their group, and so we're going to go and they're going to perform there. I would suggest that he goes there, that he goes to other places to make sure he gets into that. Let's call it a clique of
Mhm.
veterans. You know, the other people who have made that transition and they're sitting there going, what the hell am I going to do?
Exactly.
You know, and of course he or she's going to get back to the family. The ones who I think have the toughest part, although the ones who have family, sometimes the families say, you're so different. Well, of course he or she is different, but it's tough for them. That's why it's good to find those support systems. But the thing that I found is that the woman or the man that's coming back to the family, they've got the family, they reconnect, and that's a really good thing, and so it helps them integrate better. It's the young people who come back and their friends are at the college or they've got their job doing this, or they look at them and say, oh boy, Joe's really different, and they just can't get it. That's why they have to be connected with young people, young veterans like them.
Yeah, because I think you just nailed it on the because they don't get it.
No.
And you don't think about that. You don't think as a veteran on you being any different. You know, you're still the same person. You've had different experiences and you may react differently to things, but yeah, that's a good thing. I never really thought about it.
Well,
That's true.
I compare it, you know, when I see someone's situation, I try to put myself into their situation to sort of see. I had a really difficult time, my wife and I did, coming from New York City to San Francisco back to this small town here. It was a big change, big change. And people looked at us like, oh, you guys are weird now because you lived in the big cities. They may have been right, but we are different. We are different. The veteran comes back, they are different. They are different. And people have to just look at them and say, whatever you are, now you're different, but we still love you. We still accept you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's easy for family and such. But friends and that, I think friends get weird, especially
I
the
think
young
so
people. You know, as you get older, as I get older, I'm starting to realize that it doesn't matter the way people are. You know, you look at the person, you accept them for who you are, and that's it. And that's what I like about this veterans organization that I started, is that we have people from Marines, Air Force, Navy, Army. We have people who are country folk. We have people who were from New Jersey. We have people. Doesn't matter. They
Yeah.
have that connection.
Yep.
So I'm sorry, long explanation. That young person has to find some young people who share the same experience, whether they're Navy, Army, Air Force, whatever. They have that background of being in the military. What I found is this and I apologize. I'm not telling you, but what I found is this is when you're mission driven for 2 years or 20 years or 30 years, and you come out and you lost that mission, it's like, I don't know, it's just, to me, it'd be crazy. If someone said, I can't play music anymore, I mean, I still have my family. I love my daughters and my wife, but I need a mission.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Music is my mission. You take it away from me, it's like you've taken half of me, gone. I'm half of me.
Yeah, you've taken your identity away.
Yeah, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I mean, I am me first and then a musician, but musician is so much a part of me. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Right. I get it. Hey, Michael. How's the weather over there?
No, it's doing great. How you
Is
doing?
it? I said the weather.
Oh, the weather?
Yeah.
That's a good question. This week, we're up to 40s and 50s. Last week, we were at -6. So, and they're also talking about us having a heat wave now. So there's no telling.
Oh my gosh.
Same here. We had snow 2 days ago. We had a foot of snow on the ground. It's been raining for 2 days. Everything's mud.
Ah,
Yeah, exactly. And it's fog. There's fog everywhere.
Fog,
Yeah.
yes. Where are you, Michael?
In Arkansas, up around Fayetteville.
hey, Luke, how's the
so-
weather where you're at? I'll give them a minute to answer. Yes, it's crazy. I mean, I'm here in Texas, okay? I moved here from Montana.
Oh,
Now, Montana just had that storm, and the wind chill was negative 58 in some points, okay? I've been in that kind of thing. No fun. But here, it's been in the 60s and I'm hot. I'm sweating because it's supposed to be winter, right? It got down into the 30s. Oh, see, 30s, windy, and my joints don't like it.
No.
Oh my
wish I had
gosh.
something to help
I
you.
don't know what's going on in Washington, but Craig will let us know here soon, I'm sure. But it's been crazy. And so there's been a lot of veterans that have been doing buddy checks. Have you guys been seeing that? So remember, do your buddy checks because I don't know what's going to happen with the weather nowadays.
Yeah.
But see, he answered.
Okay, so I was saying that I would have never met these guys, and I have to say, a couple of my best friends are part of that organization now. And I know, actually, I was told by John, who's the same guy that I said it's been 40 years since Vietnam. So I had said to him, I said, John, if there's any way I can help you, let me know. And he goes, don't make that promise lightly. If you tell a veteran that, you better be prepared for that. I went, oh, okay. But John and I are best friends. I have another, one of the guys' best friend is Ken. Him and his wife have not been feeling well for the last couple of days. I've been keeping in contact with them every day to see how they're doing and such. It's just that, again, for me, it's been a pleasure giving a gift of music. And it's also been my pleasure of getting the gift of their friendships.
Do you know why he said that to you?
Well, I'm Italian, so yes.
Okay.
I'm going to guess it's the same, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's because that's what veterans depend on each other. I got your six.
Right.
And so if you need anything, they're going to come to you because they take that literally. It's like you just gave me an unsigned promise.
Yes.
Am I correct, Peggy? That's how I saw it in the Army.
That's the way it was in the military, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I got you.
I was kidding about the six because I always know what's happening behind me. When I go to a restaurant, back to the wall.
That's right.
That's right.
You're learning really good. You've got some real good experience.
Well, my mother was Sicilian.
So did they immigrant from Italy then?
My mother didn't, but her parents and grandparents, yes. And my father, the same thing. My father's family, I mentioned my grandfather came. He was 15 years old when he came.
Oh my gosh.
And got some money in his pocket and had an uncle in New York that he came and hung out with. And he never thought he'd be in the American Army. He loved it because he could say, I fought for my country. Because he became a citizen because he fought in the First World War. He spoke Italian to us, but we weren't allowed to speak Italian back. We had to speak English because he wanted us to be American. So I was trained in that way.
Yeah. Yep. And you know what? That's the old ways.
Yes.
They should bring back a lot of the old ways.
Yes.
But that's my opinion. That's my opinion.
I lived in New York City for 10 years. And so you really, you learn there that you're just one of the gang. You're standing next to people from around the world. And, we're all going to work and we're all coming back from work. We're all getting something to eat. And so it was a good experience for me. I came from a very small town and went to a very big city. And I went there to play music. And 3 years later, I was in the film business. So you never know what's going to happen. I never thought that I would be working with veterans, hanging out with veterans and such. It's amazing. And like I said, it's a fun thing for me. And my daughter tells me I like it because I can tell everyone what to do because I'm the band leader.
There's that little bit of control thing, right?
Not me. Not me.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so I know you've been doing a little bit of playing while you've been talking. Would you like to do a song for us?
Sure. Let me find an easy one.
Okay. Well, we're not picky. We like all music, so I
Good.
just appreciate you being here and
Well,
playing for us.
Yes,
Well,
thank you.
I'm going to try something. You have to forgive me because I might have trouble getting all the way through it. But because you're from Texas, you probably would like to hear a song from Willie.
It doesn't matter. Willie's always good.
Yeah. Light him up. In the twilight glow, I see her. Blue eyes crying in the rain. When we kissed goodbye and parted, knew we'd never meet again. Love is like a dying ember, only memories remain. Through the ages I'll remember blue eyes crying in the rain. Do 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 Someday when we meet up yonder, we'll stroll hand in hand again in the land that knows no parting. Blue eyes crying in the rain. Blue eyes crying in the rain. Blue eyes crying in the rain. Oh, 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 oh. Willie, light him up.
Thank you.
You cannot go wrong with Willie.
No. I would like to hang out with him on the bus for a while.
Oh my gosh.
Travel with him. I bet it's fun as hell.
I bet. I mean, I don't even know how. I mean, has he even written a book? What that book would be filled with, the stories that man could tell.
I think he did recently. Yes. Yeah.
I'm not sure. Well, you know what we're going to do is, hey, Michael, I want to have you come on, and while we're talking about music, and Vinny, he actually, you had a chance to talk to him too. He knows about this. Could you share about the thing that happened after World War II?
Actually, Peggy's the one that did the research on that, if you remember correctly. I was the one that can tell you the physics behind it. But
Okay.
Well, supposedly in 1940s, they made the standard across America to A tuning for 440 hertz. But there's still some places that have stuff at 432 hertz, and it's supposedly a conspiracy theory that the Rockefeller Foundation is the one that was responsible for changing it. I don't know if that's true or not, but I do know that when I was having all the neurological issues I was having, the only places I was comfortable for concerts during that entire frame when I was having seizures and everything was where it was at 432 hertz. Mike can even verify this.
Yep. As a matter of fact, there was a band called The Who that still plays in 432 hertz because they're from Tibetan region
No, Mongolia. They're a
or
Mongolian metal
Mongolia.
band.
Right. Right. But
Mm.
they still play and they don't have it tuned like we do. So it didn't even hurt. It didn't hurt her. Whereas I could sit there and play something soft and quiet and it would actually grate her on her nerves. So it was kind of interesting. Um, what we did is we picked, I don't know if anybody knows who Linda Ronstadt is, but back in the day when Art Bell was on the air, Linda Ronstadt wrote a song for him called Midnight in the Desert. And I took an excerpt from it so I could demonstrate what you're fixing to hear. And the first one is just the normal song, so everybody can kind of hear it and understand it. The second one, though, has been more or less auto-tuned to 432 just to show you the difference and the clarity of it. So I'm going to play the first one, and so you guys can listen. Okay, so you get the gist of that one, right? Okay, so remember what you just heard, and this is tuned to 432. So I don't know if you guys noticed the difference in that,
Oh, yeah.
but for me personally, there's a lot more. I used to play music when I was in high school, and I still play bass, but I could hear so much more clarity in all the different nuances of a song tuned to 432 than I could to 440.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Me
it
too.
turns muddy when it hits 440.
And the second one, the 432, for some reason it seemed to be bigger sounding. Maybe that's what you're saying. It's just
Yeah,
more impactful.
yeah.
I never.
Yeah, the ambience is totally different.
Yes,
Mhm.
yeah. What's the name of the band? I want to research this.
That's Linda Ronstadt.
And her whole album was that tuning.
Oh no. I actually there's a website I used and I was going to tell everybody it's called 432hertzconverter.com. It's at the bottom on that banner at the bottom of the page. And you can throw whatever music you want into it and it'll convert it. Actually, you can tune it to what you can actually program it for whatever you want, but it's already set up and established to do that conversion.
And what's the band? What's the band that tunes to that?
Oh, The Who, the THEHU.
THEHU.
Yeah, The
It's
Who.
The Who.
Yeah.
That sounds familiar. I may have heard them before. They tune that way all the time.
Originally they did. I don't know if they are now. When they first came over to the United States, they were tuned that way.
Yeah.
So, because me and my wife were trying to figure out what the deal was, why she could listen. Because man, they've got these awesome traditional Chinese drums they're using.
Yes.
It literally shakes the core of you.
Yes.
It did not bother her whatsoever.
I was front row for that concert, but other concerts I have to be back in the lawn seated areas and away from the stage. But that one, I was able to get right up against the stage and fully embrace and enjoy the drums and everything. And it had to be because it was tuned differently than the way we tune everything here.
Nice. Very
Well,
nice.
and the reason why I wanted them to share this tonight was because with veterans and their love of music, I haven't met a veteran that hasn't liked music. That if some of their music may be agitating them in ways that the frequencies that are going on with it, and they may not be aware of it. And so by showing this example, because Michael asked me, who do you want to have played? And I said, anything from Linda Ronstadt. And so he came up with this song to show the differences. And so if you love music and yet you seem to feel like you end up getting irritable or just out of sorts and you don't quite understand why, that might be the reason.
Yeah,
And
you
will
can
be
go to
able
this website.
Go ahead, Michael.
I was going to say you could take whatever, because most people have MP3s now, and so this website's based off of that. You just put it in, it converts it, you re-download it, and you can add it to your playlist, and you can convert all your songs over that way. And if you do discover that's what's bothering you, with my wife, it absolutely did. We had to shut down. I actually had to change the frequency that my router was running on because it was producing this high pitched frequency that I couldn't hear, but it was affecting my wife.
It was driving me nuts. It was like a high pitched whine all the time. And he'd turn it off, it'd go away, and he'd turn it back on, I'd hear it again, and I'm like, okay, it's got to go. There's certain light bulbs we can't have because I hear a high pitched whine, and it's the smart technology I can't have around me.
Yeah, the TV set, certain TV sets really bother me.
See?
I'm gonna start doing some research. I'm gonna start tuning my guitar and to that frequency and see the difference. I'll tune.
Yeah, we've got other musician friends that are trying it out, and they said, and they work in bars, and they said they've noticed a difference in just the way the patrons are acting. People are happier and they're buying more alcohol, and
that's a good band that Craig pointed out. Ottiken. They're is that the Siberian? I can't remember where they're from. They're from
that might be that Siberian band that's the Native American or Native Siberians. Yeah.
They also
just like Native Americans, but yeah, they're the indigenous people.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so cool. But I thank you, Michael, because
Mike can explain. Granny, we also asking about the frequencies. Mike can tell you, what is it? The hertz of the earth is at 8 frequencies, and
what it is 432 is called a resonant frequency. Everything in nature has resonant frequency and is based off what the earth resonates at. Well, music is based off 432, which is a natural resonant frequency. 440 is not a resonant frequency. So that's why it's just, it makes total sense why your body would react that way. They've done experiments with plants playing music and found out the old classical music, plants love it to death. But when you start getting into the newer music where it was tuned at 440, absolutely they don't grow the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wonder, since it was, who was it that pushed to change the law?
Well,
that was the federal government.
Rockefeller.
It was supposedly it was a Rockefeller Foundation, and let me see if I can pull it back up. That's what the conspiracy theory says, but so there's no telling what really changed it.
Well, it's interesting because they also were at that time made the pharmaceuticals and took out a lot of the naturopathic medicine being used and put pharmaceuticals. So if it's affecting plants, I wonder what kind of effect it's having on the human body.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, vibrations. I've done a lot of studying with music and sort of the physics of music as well. By no means am I a scientist, but I love music enough. But there's 3 things in music. There's melody, harmony, and rhythm. And you can make a mistake in melody, and people will sort of hear it. You can make a mistake in the harmony, and people sort of hear it. But if you make a mistake with rhythm, it's like getting punched. You sort of see that. And it's so crazy that I just read something that we were talking about the difference between wolves and domesticated dogs. And they said that if you watch a wolf, they seldom wag their tail as much as domesticated dogs do. And they said they think that dogs wag their tails because they get a reaction because it's a rhythmic thing. We react to rhythm. So when we see a tail going like this, that's excitement. When we see something like this, that's calm. And so we're on Earth. So our hearts beat the earth rotates 24 hours, all these things. We are rhythmic beings. So music is rhythm, and vibrations are rhythm. So I
Exactly.
can see this 432 making a big difference. I'm going to start listening and checking out some of this stuff because it sounds exciting.
Yeah, I thought it would be interesting because of you being on the show to talk about how um, maybe it could be a way of helping veterans that used to love listening to music way back when
Yeah,
and now can't tolerate it and or get reactions that they don't understand. Why am I angry? Why am I having a panic attack? Why is this happening?
right.
I was
Right.
just fine a minute ago, but they were listening to one of their favorite songs and boom,
Yeah.
you know.
Well,
I'm not an expert, but I'm always out there trying to figure out
trying
something
to figure
to,
it out.
yeah.
It's one of the things that I didn't do before I started working with the Music for Veterans program is singing. I was always an instrumentalist, and all the music I
Oh,
played was just with the guitar, and um, and then I started singing, and there's such a great feeling when you're singing because you're vibrating your chest, you're vibrating your throat, your head, your sinuses, everything. So when you get finished with the song, you got a bit of a buzz. It's just relaxed,
right.
very nice. And so I encourage all the veterans to sing. In fact, um, there's one of the guys. He's a Vietnam veteran, and he's been with the program since day one, 2011. And he comes every time he goes to performances. He holds his guitar, doesn't really play because I think he's just comfortable holding the guitar, but he sings all the time. And there's something about singing.
Mhm.
And then when you get a lot of people singing, if you ever sang in a chorus, the great feeling of being in the middle of all those voices. And so that's one of the things that I think is the healing part of Music for Veterans is singing. Um,
I agree.
so, so yes, it's this magic. They know it's a science, it's vibration. They can break down music and mathematically, but there's this mystery to it. Why does it connect us so much? Why do you feel so great when you get finished doing it? There's so much to it.
It's like endorphins have been released.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yes.
Well, we have a little tidbit here. We are honoring a veteran. One of my followers had asked if we could honor her father. It's his birthday today, and I don't know exactly how old, but I'm guessing he was in World War II and the Korean War. So he's got to be from 85 up to who knows where.
95, maybe.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's in hospice right now. And his name is Howard Thatcher. And as you could see, there's a picture of him with his medals. And his daughter, Elizabeth, asked if we would honor him today. So happy birthday, Papa.
Mm.
And like I said, oh, let's sing happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Howard Vatcher. Thank you for your service. Happy birthday to you. Thank you, Howard.
Thank you.
Woo! Thank
Happy
you.
birthday,
I was
Howard.
hoping you would pick up on that.
Gotta
I
sing.
wasn't going to ask you, but I was hoping.
I'm not sure how
Craig
old
says
this
happy
is.
birthday also.
There you go.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I had a funny little diddly. And if you want to hang out, you are more than welcome to do it. But I asked the guys, everybody, and if you want to, you can Google it too. Now, I went into the service in 1980. Peggy, you went into the service when?
2003.
2003.
Hmm.
So I saw this really quick and I thought, oh, that's cool. Let's find out what was going on in the year that we went into the service.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So, Peggy, do you have your stuff up?
Well, I know for sure when I was in the service, while I was actually in basic training, the way I found out about the Northeast blackout of 2003, cutting electricity in the northeastern United States and parts of Canada, I was actually in basic. And how I found out about that was we had a little paper printout of the main news things, and that's how I found out about that. There was also President Bush signed the third largest tax cutting package in U.S. history into law. The Department of Homeland Security began operating. Space Shuttle Columbia exploded over Texas. And during the period of May 4th through 10th, 393 tornadoes were reported in 19 states in the South.
That was 80 what? What year was
this
that?
was
80?
in 2003 when I was in.
Oh, okay, 2000, yes.
And
Yes.
Schwarzenegger was elected governor of California.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's
Nice.
cool. Well, let's see. I went in 1980.
Okay, that's right. And you heard 80 somewhere.
Yeah. And
Right.
so I brought up, and I'm going in the backwards because I took pictures. Because I didn't know if I could bring back the screen on exactly what was happening. So in January, President Carter authorized $1.5 billion loan to bail out Chrysler. And June, the Unabomber, remember him, injured United Airlines President Percy Wood. And then also in 1980, had the highest heat wave that killed 1,700 people. November, which is actually the month I went into the service, President Reagan was elected, defeating Jimmy Carter in a landslide. December, John Lennon was murdered. Remember that?
I was there.
And you were there during that time? Did you go and see?
Well, my wife and I had a routine where we'd meet after work and we'd walk home, which is like 60 blocks, but we got a chance to walk through New York, and it was a cool time of year, December. And I said after dinner, why don't we just walk around the park? So we did the route. We lived on the east side. We did the route over to the west side, came across 72nd Street, and there's a mass of people on the street. And I thought there was all kinds of lights and everything. And I thought, oh, they must be shooting a film. Around New York, you're always seeing a film shot. And we walk up, and there was a crowd, and there was dead silence, and it was really strange. And we sort of stood there looking at everybody, and some people were crying. We said, what happened? They said, John Lennon was just killed. Just on the walk that we had, we were talking about the Beatles. We saw a big poster in the window, and we were talking about the Beatles. It must have been in the air. And then we came around and saw that. So we stood there for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, just standing there. And I said, let's just go home. Because I was just, after that, I was just sort of shocked. So we went home, watched it on the news. It was the craziest thing. It was just being at that sort of that place at a certain time and feeling like I was connected. We were connected to history.
Yeah.
I also went to Woodstock, and when I was 15, and that was another thing of being connected with history. And I was 15 years old. My brother and his friends, they were 20 at the time, so I went with them, and it was fun. It was a fun thing. That was something that I was 15 at the time. I'd been playing music from the time I was 7. And it was always part of my life. And when I turned 15 and went to Woodstock, I said, I'm going to be a musician. That's all I want to do in my life. And so actually, full disclosure, at that time, 16, 17, I was watching the Vietnam War on the news every night. And I'd sit there, and my cousins were there. And I'd sit there and go, this is crazy. This is crazy. And worrying about my cousins, and then worrying about going to war myself. And I thought, I didn't even know if I could do that. And I missed the draft by 1 year. And it was it was my cousins who were in Vietnam who helped me make the decision to start Music for Veterans. They didn't say anything, but I saw them come back. One of them committed suicide. One of them was an alcoholic. One of them just never talked much. And I thought, what the heck? It sort of sealed two things for me. I had to do something to give back when I thought of my cousins. And then a lot of the veterans who were Vietnam veterans were close to my age. They were my cousins, my brother's age, 5 years older or so. So I had a connection with them that way as well. And some of them I feel like they're my big brother.
Right. That is so cool that you have that little connection, though, and how it went full circle.
Yes.
It went full circle.
I never served, so I'm serving now.
There you are. And I'm glad you are, because you know what? We need it. We need more people like you out there. So I'm very glad. So there you go.
Yeah.
Well, I think that we have had a very good show. Hopefully I have found next week a newscaster that's going to come on and do the news in a humorous, sarcastic way, kind of like the Saturday Night Live. Remember Gilda and all of them? That always cracked me up. Oh my goodness. I actually got those jokes. A lot of the jokes nowadays, they just go on over. But yeah, and then I don't know who our musical guest will be, but I'll be working on it. But you know what? I thank you so much. If there's any last words from anybody, Michael, we'll start with you.
No, I'm doing well. Appreciate everybody being on tonight that came on. And I'm looking forward to hearing more from you. That's one thing me and my wife were wanting to do once we got freed back up, was getting back in on the Zoom calls. So it'd be nice to hang out with some other, because we grew up being musicians. I mean, me and her both. We played music, from being teenagers up. So
nice, very nice.
Yeah,
we'd love to have you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Great.
Yes, and you guys can all perform together.
Well, if I may, I had a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Oh, good.
It's always good to talk about these things. It's interesting to see what you're doing here, which is fantastic, reaching out to veterans and that. I thank you for your service, and you're invited. I will send you, I believe, Peggy, you're still on our list every week that we send out. All right. Please join us. Please join us. It'd be fun.
Well, if there's anything that we can do to help you guys, let us know. And like I said, find out if any of them would like to come on when you do one of your shows. Pencil us in on a Saturday night. We would love it.
Absolutely. We'd love to do it.
Awesome.
Let me ask the technical question. If we did play, would we have to be in the same room?
Actually, if there's a way, maybe we can figure out a way to do the Zoom call. So we're actually in the Zoom call with you guys and then retransmit through this. So
Oh, I like that idea. I like that a lot.
That way we're all in sync with everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That'd be great. It's been fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I especially on such short notice too. I was like,
Well, this morning I had we have guitar sessions and we have lessons, and then this afternoon I went over to help my daughter who's moving into an apartment, and so it's been a busy day but a great day.
Well, I'm so glad you took the time. Thank you again. And I know that it's touched people because I've been reading the little messages. So I appreciate that. I really do. And remember to like and subscribe. Peggy, do you have anything to add to it?
Thank you so much, Vinny, for all that you do for the veterans in the community, for music with children, because I believe children's music education is very vital and very important to help develop their brain and mathematic and science skills. So thank you.
And if you have anything that you need promoted, send it to us and I'll post it on my Facebook.
Fantastic.
Get the word out for you.
Well, if I may, our Music for Veterans site is music, the number 4 veterans, not the FOR, the number 4 veterans.org. And then we have a Facebook page, which is Music for Veterans. I'm not sure what it is, but you can find us on Facebook.
Oh, he's got it. She's got it.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Great to meet you.
Thank you.
You too.
Always remember, sharing is caring, everyone.
Like and subscribe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Take care.
Mwah.
Bye.